Anthropic sold a very specific promise: AI systems you can rely on. Then March 2026 arrived, and that promise met production reality. Not with one cinematic collapse, but with dozens of boring failures. Login broke, model spiked errors, connectors vanished, tool installed, a coding product exposed internals, and a safety-first company sued Washington. So, what actually went wrong, and why should engineers recognize it immediately? First, the brand. Anthropic is not pitched as ordinary software. Its company page says it builds reliable, steerable, interpretable AI systems. It also says safety is science, not marketing decoration. That wording matters because it creates a hard expectation. If any lab should look disciplined under pressure, it should be Anthropic. And yet, Anthropic's own status history shows March 2026 carried 51 incidents. 51 incidents in 1 month. That is not a rounding error, but the number alone is not the whole story. The story is the spread. Failures appeared across many layers. Core chat degraded, Claude code degraded, desktop degraded too. Specific models failed repeatedly, so did login and network paths. Even MCP calls broke. That matters if your pitch is agents. Because agents are dependency multipliers. Every extra surface is another failure domain. March starts rough immediately. On March 2nd, several surfaces degrade. Anthropic logs elevated errors on Claude AI, console, and Claude code. The same day, Opus 4.6 throws elevated errors again. Then March 3rd widens it. Claude.ai, Co-work, Platform, and Claude Code wobble. Later that day, Opus, Haiku, and Sonnet showed trouble too. That is the first tell. This is not one sick server. It's a coupled system, shedding reliability across products. Then March 6th adds a line engineers instantly respect: elevated TCP three-way handshake failures on API anthropic.com. That phrase is almost comforting. At least the failure tells the truth. Packets do not care about mission statements or safety philosophy. They care about routing, timing, retries, state, and saturation. March 8th through March 10th brings a different symptom entirely. The Claude desktop app becomes unresponsive across a multi-day window. Then March 11th lands with Claude.ai errors and Claude code login issues. Now the pattern sharpens. Model quality is not the main problem. Availability is. Session continuity is. Access is. In other words, the boring layers are getting loud. And boring layers are what make premium tools trustworthy. Mid-March gets harsher. March 12th through March 19th keeps piling on. Sonnet 4.6 errors, then Opus 4.6 errors, then Claude.ai errors, then more Sonnet errors, then more Opus errors. On March 18th alone, the status page lists multiple separate incidents. That is what clustering looks like when systems run too close to edge. One weak point exposes another. One mitigation shifts pressure somewhere else. This is where Murphy's Law stops sounding like a coffee mug. Anything that can fail, will fail, becomes a scheduling principle. It becomes your load balancer, your queue depth, your pager, and March still is not done. The month keeps escalating. March 22nd hits users again with delayed completions and broken login. A model can reason beautifully. If auth fails, beauty is irrelevant. Then comes March 25th through March 27th, the revealing stretch. Claude.ai shows elevated errors. Opus 4.6 keeps misbehaving. Opus and Sonnet 4.6 both register elevated error rates. Co-work shows elevated connection resets for roughly 2 days. MCP calls fail too. That is the plumbing behind agent workflows. So Now, the failure stack spans models, sessions, tools, and connectors. Exactly the combination that makes Spain users lose trust quickly. Not because every request fails, but rather because predictability disappears, and reliability in production is mostly about predictability. Then March 31st arrives, almost as if the script wanted irony. First, more model trouble, Opus 4.6 error rates jump again, then Opus 4.6 and Sonnet 4.6 both show elevated errors. Then desktop connectors become unavailable inside Claude.ai applications. Anthropic says affected connectors were removed from organization allowed lists. Read that carefully. This is permissions and rollout fragility. The Safe AI company is debugging its own control surface, and that same day, a different class of failures escapes. Security researchers report a Claude code source exposure. Zscaler says Anthropic shipped a 59.8 megabyte JavaScript source map. It was bundled in the public npm package released. The package was at anthropic-ai/claude-code version 2.1.88. According to Zscaler, the map referenced original TypeScript sources, hosted on Anthropic infrastructure, not on some attacker's mystery box. The report estimates about 500,000 lines across 1,906 files. It also makes an important limiting point. Model wakes were not exposed. User data was not exposed. Safety pipelines were not exposed. This was not a total platform breach. It was something senior engineers know by heart. A package mistake, a build artifact escaping the boundary. Bun generated a source map, and exclusion controls apparently failed. No supervillain required, no science fiction sabotage required, just ordinary release hygiene failing in a high visibility product. And that may be the most brutal irony of all. The company selling trust was hit by a trust eroding mistake. Now, add the March policy fight, because operations were not the whole story. On March 9th, Anthropic sued the Trump administration. AP reported the dispute centered on a Pentagon supply chain risk label. Anthropic argued the government retaliated over limits on Claude's military use. Anthropic's own statement makes the scope more precise. The company supported many national security and defense applications already, but it refused two categories: mass domestic surveillance and fully autonomous weapons. So the conflict was not no defense work ever, it was narrower and messier. Who controls the guardrails and where? That matters because safety branding creates political consequences. Once you promise safeguards, every safeguard becomes negotiable under pressure. And once you promise reliability, every outage becomes symbolic. Every login failure says trust is fragile. Even tool chain failure says operational coupling is fragile. Every public lawsuit says governance is expensive when power resists limits. This is the crux of what went wrong in March. Anthropic did not collapse because safety is fake. It stumbled because safety, reliability, security, and policy are different disciplines.